2561 or email careers@landmarkimp.com. That's landmarkimp.com. Landmark Implement is an equal opportunity employer.
It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios. Here is your host, Derek Pearson. Presented by Beatrice Bakery on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It is Thursday, which means a couple of things are in play. 402-464-5685. Starter Hammond text line. Honda of Lincoln hotline. Video streams up. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter Live. Lots to talk about here. And what happens is conversations that take place off air show up on air. So we will do the very same thing here with our next guest.
The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash, with a silver hat about his head, and a bristling black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold. And the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
Brought to you by the folks from Ambition Electric. Let's bring in Barry Thompson for his hour of sports radio on a Thursday. BT, what's happening, man? What's happening with you?
Nothing much, man. You know how my Thursdays roll. I just got off the field, and, it always feels like Fridays to me. I get through Fridays every week. I love it.
It is spectacular. We were talking off break, and it came up. So, for whatever way it worked out, I was 2 days from being eligible to play the following year. So I would have been asked. So I was asked to reclassify. And I don't think you and I have ever talked about this, but our high school coach had said, well, listen, you're 2 days away. You could really reclassify because you'll be the youngest person in your graduating class. And it'll give you time to, let your body mature a little bit more, and it'll give you another year of exposure. And I thought, well, I don't know. And he goes, well, just think of you playing tailback against the juniors. And I went, oh. And he goes, yeah, just think of you, hitting against this next group of pitchers. And I was like, okay, you have my attention. Let's consider that. And reclassification is now a much bigger part of high school athletics. It's a much bigger part. And it also, what happens, it also affects college recruiting. It affects transfer portal now. It affects NIL agreements now. It affects everything. So you have some experience. First of all, I'll ask you, can you imagine having another year in high school?
No. The answer is no.
Yeah, you were done. You were ready.
The answer is no.
You were ready. I thought about it. I really did.
Wow.
I mean, well, because he said, well, just think, you with another year, what you would do within this program. And there was that part of me that, well, yeah, I'd like to be the focus guy. I'd love to play against guys who I was playing against guys my age. I mean, because I was the youngest guy that on the roster my senior year. So, from my class. So there's a part of it. But then now it is making decisions that your place in recruiting, whether it's being graded, 3 stars, 4 stars, whatever that is, that it changes your location and elevation when it comes to recruiting by reclassifying.
Right. Yeah, I it's funny. I was thinking about it. I've been a part of it, and I can just speak locally, right? So I'm sure it's not the same, and it's not uniform. So in our area in Northern Virginia, there are some private schools that will permit you to reclass. And when you do, and you move to the private side, the public school side has a clock that ticks. It doesn't matter. So let's say an example. Let's say, and it happened to Miles, for example. So my son, he went to the public school for his freshman year. And then after his freshman year, we were looking to move him. And just long story short, he wound up down at Woodbury with me. And because of all the guys that they had there, they said, you might want to think about reclassing. So I said, are you okay with it? And he said, yes, he was. So then he reclassed. He enters Woodbury as a freshman. So he was ahead in terms of college and education, right? And then he finishes his second year there. And then at the end of the second year, he wanted out. So we were bringing him back home and first looked at the public schools. And then we found out that if he entered the public school, which would have been his junior year in Woodbury terms, they would consider him athletically a senior.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been a situation where he went there his junior year, and that's actually his senior year playing football, and then he would have to go one more year before he graduated. So here, once you make the decision, you got to kind of stay in that stream. What most folks are commonly doing is they're holding a kid back in junior high, and then that kind of clears things up for them, right? Because they you don't have to worry about a school policy. They just hold them back a year, and then he gains that year of maturity or whatever they want to do. What I can tell you is at the end of the day, I don't know that it makes a lot of difference. And if it does make a difference, it's for a very finite population, right? What you're talking about. If there's some kid up there who is a 3-star because of his weight, and he needs an extra year or two to put some weight on, and if he does that, or he gets stronger and faster, then he'll be considered a 5-star, and he gets a scholarship or an area where he wants to go. Yeah, but that's got to be a very small population. It's just not a cure-all for everybody. Go ahead.
Yeah, as it plays out, right? That
Sure.
If it happens somewhere, it happens everywhere.
Yes.
Right? That
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's not exclusive to it, and that parents start to do the math pretty quickly. That
let me interrupt too quickly.
Right.
Parents do math too quickly, way too quickly.
Go into detail with that for me.
The nature of what I do is I'll get a parent who I can tell they're good people. They really are, but I can tell that they're a little anxious about a 10 or 11-year-old, and they're already. I'm going to run a middle school camp, quarterback camp this Saturday. I'll have 30 QBs there. And I know I'm going to have a Q&A segment for the parents. And I know they're going to start talking about recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to break it down to him. The first thing he needs to do is get on the football field. He's trying to be one, right? So you got to understand, you can think about recruiting, but we got to get him on the field. He's got to be a starter.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next goal is, can he be the best football player at his school? If he's the best football player at school, he works to that standard. Do you have any question that he'll be recruited for college? The answer is no.
Right.
But yeah, they're going to ask me, and it's legit questions, and but they're doing math too soon. It should be like, hey, what can I do to help him grow and develop? But it's going to be, hey, how do I get him recruited? And I'm like, okay, you got to get him on the field, right? They're going to,
and there's a way to do that,
right? Excuse me. Yeah. Excuse me. So yeah, it's like first things first. So they're not bad. I'm not saying they're bad. These are probably good parents I have, but they just start doing math a little too soon, and they don't understand that athletic development is long-term development, and it doesn't happen right away. It happens over time, and that process is that the person will take themselves through is the most valuable thing. It's not the reward. It's not the scholarship. It's not that's not it. Because once you get the scholarship and once you get the stars, you land on campus. Nobody gives a flying squirrel how many stars you have.
Right.
Can you play? Can you play?
Well, it's that constant reshuffling of your importance and value to the program, and saying to folks out loud, focus. Like I think every coach should, especially during the improvement season, should just wear a shirt that says focus.
Yes. It's funny you said focus. Like I said, I'm fortunate to work with, and by the way, I told you last time, these guys will hang out with each other. They're right in front of me. They've been hanging out for 45 minutes. But among that group, one of the biggest things that we do is to focus on a specific thing, whatever it is. And when you see them getting better, is you see how long they can sustain that focus. Now you got consistency. That consistency breeds confidence. And now the next thing you know, you're going out and you're playing, right? There are these steps involved in the process. Focus is a big part of it. Focus on what's in front of you. Focus where your feet are now, right? Yes, you can plan, but you still have to focus where you are. And then you have to, these steps have to be in some type of logical order, right? It just doesn't happen overnight. It just really doesn't. And you can't relationship your way into these things. It's one of the great things about sports in general is that you know, there's a bottom line to this. Either you can do it or you can't. Either you win or you don't, right? And that's it. And if you don't get the results that you want, you haven't worked hard enough at it. You haven't worked correctly hard enough at it.
Say that again.
Right? I'm just saying. And you get me on my horse here. Sometimes, sometimes I have quarterback dads and say, I just want a fair competition. I go, what do you think a fair competition is? They go, well, we'll just put the two up and whoever's done. I go, that's not competition. Here's competition. Your son is competing against the OC son. That's competition. That's what life is. Can you overcome that? And they go, well, no, it's unfair. So look, slow down. If your kid is going to become a college football player, right? If I have him as a college football player, as a freshman, he comes back to the high school, will he beat out the OC son? The answer is yes. Well, then he should be able to beat out the OC son now, right? Figure out how that gets done. It's not easy. It's not fair, but figure out how that gets done, because that is competition. It's never fair. Competition is rarely fair. Somebody has to.
And the place that they're trying to go is certainly not going to be fair.
Oh my gosh! Just bring Guy Myers into it. He got picked up. He was there for a week, and yesterday he got news that some guy that got cut, that they were trying to pick him up, and this is in the morning meetings, and that if they got this guy, that he would be cut. Nothing to do with Guy. Totally unfair. So we had a talk in the afternoon. I said, what can you do? We talked about being professional. I said, if you get any reps in practice, you better kill him. And he went and killed him. They didn't get the guy. And we thought he was going to get the hat this morning. So far, no news. So he gave him something to think about. Totally unfair situation to put him in. Ready to cut this guy and hadn't even seen what he'd done, right?
Yep.
But it's the business side of it, right? But he fought. And I said, now you're learning what it's like to be a professional quarterback.
Everything past Little League is business, and folks need to.
It is.
Right. Hey, B, we need to get four segments in this hour, so we'll go toward the break. We'll come back and we'll go to the text line. And the question is, so you have time to think about it, is if you have a junior or senior in high school, does a year in prep school do the same thing? We'll get your answer and your thoughts when we come back. The Barry Thompson Hour here, brought to you by Ambition Electric.
Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
Showers will continue to be a possibility through much of the morning before maybe sneaking in a little afternoon sunshine, only topping out at around 66, a north wind at around 15 to 20. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 47. Sunshine and warmer temps return for your Friday with a high of 80. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, it's Nelson. Isn't it a great feeling when a company has your budget in mind instead of trying to squeeze it all out of you? That's why Caterpillar Vapes has been voted a fan favorite among premium e-juice, CBD, and Delta 8 customers year after year. And now they're here in Lincoln. Returning customers are always enjoying weekly deals and perks, and new Caterpillar Vapes customers get 50% off their entire first purchase. A company that cares about their customers. Crazy, right? In a hurry? Try the drive-thru. Caterpillar Vapes, 2601 North 11th Street, and online at caterpillarvapes.com.
And now, poetry from the world of Yum.
You need a treat, but not something predictable. Cookies, cupcakes, apple pie, it's all boringly typical. So here's a little rule of thumb. Take that income, avoid the humdrum, and get yourself to the world of Yum. The cakes are made for any celebration, every cause of elation, alongside every occasion. So get in your car. You would be remiss not to take that drive down to Beatrice.
Check out Grandma's fruit cake and all the delicious desserts at Beatrice Bakery. Welcome to our world of Yum.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 330 North 48th Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Hey, it's Nicklin Hames from Nebraska Volleyball. I hate wasting time in practice, and I want to help you stop wasting your time when you're looking for an electrician. High Electric has been serving the area for over 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They are experts in everything like remodeling, new additions, hot tub installation, and more. And they take jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at high-electric.com.
Southeast Community College has learning centers in Falls City, Hebron, Nebraska City, Plattsmouth, Wahoo, and York, so that you can take credit and non-credit classes at a center nearby without having to travel an hour or more to campus. By taking online classes and those at a learning center, you can earn your degree from SEC where and when it's convenient for you, all at a cost that won't stand in the way of your education. Learn more about SCC's learning centers at southeast.edu/learning centers. SCC, your path to possible.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Hello, everybody. Charlie Stone here, and with me on the line is Andy Goodyear, General Manager of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, I hear you have a big sales event going on right now.
We do, Charlie. It's our annual Memorial Day sales event on pre-owned and certified pre-owned.
That's great. Come on, Andy, tell our listeners all about it.
Well, we know our customers always appreciate our sales event, and this year we have over 100 pre-owned and certified pre-owned to choose from. Plus, we have fresh trade-ins arriving daily.
All makes of imports and domestics, right?
Yes. In addition to Hondas, we sell Toyotas, Nissans, Volkswagens, Kias, Chevys, Ford, Chryslers, Jeeps, and many, many more.
How about your certified pre-owned Hondas?
We really have a great selection for this event, and buying certified is kind of like buying a new car with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty that's got you covered.
Come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Hey, it's Bob. Join me and Eric Strickland this Thursday at the brand new Double Eagle Golf Simulator Bar on West O Street inside the Kinetic Sports Complex from 3 to 6 p.m. That's this Thursday at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
You're listening to One-on-One with DP, presented by Beatrice Bakery on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the Barry Thompson Hour here on 93.7 The Ticket, brought to you by Ambition Electric. We were talking about, the reclassification and the kind of rejoining of replacement. Replacement is probably a good way to say it. The question was, if you have a junior or senior in high school, does a year in prep school do the same thing as reclassification? Barry, you have familiarity with this as well.
Right. I think that's a great question. Parents sometimes midstream will worry about the reclassing the kids fine. They don't understand that there's another way to get a fifth year, which is there are programs out there that have what they call PG or post-grad programs, and you can get your fifth year that way. Now, the one thing that everybody has to understand is if you're a Division III player and you go to a post-grad program, that's not going to make you a Division I player.
It might.
Well, it
depends on what you do with it.
Yeah, it depends on who you're there. It can happen, but that and understand that post-grad programs have changed. It used to be that it was solely for kids that needed to get their grades in order, and that was a year in which they got that done. There are post-grad programs out there now that you can go into, and as long as you're academically straight at the end of the football season, you can leave. So when you look at that process, that's really not a bad option, because if your grades are good, you're looking at just literally another football season, and that gives you a little extra time to get to wherever you need to go. I think it's useful in the case of, let's say, a kid is some type of tweener, right? And for whatever reason, he needs time to contact schools, to let them know he's there, to get another set of film, another role for himself. And, you have coaches there that recruiters can rely on, right? That's always important in recruiting. Parents, maybe some people underestimate that. One of the biggest things in recruiting is independent third verification of anything about a player. And it can come from, that's why head coaches are always involved in the process. That's an independent third-party verification. If you go to a well-known event and you post times in that, people can kind of rely on those times. So anytime you get that independent third-party verification, that helps a college coach feel kind of assured about his gut feeling.
If a young person has the physical tools but needs the academic work, people will request or kind of suggest, hey, reclassify, prep school, JUCO. If a player has the academics and they need to work on the physical aspect of it, why wouldn't it be the same response?
I don't know why it wouldn't be the same response. DP, you have a tendency of being logical. And as we frequently say, common sense isn't a flower that grows in everybody's garden.
Right.
Yeah, it just is. And so, but when this whole recruiting thing, just the clearer that, here's what I talk to players about. First thing is, going on to play in college is not about any particular division. It just isn't. It's about, and it should be about, whether you think it is or not, it is about it. It's about 4 more years to play a game that you love, and 4 more years to use that platform to get to the next stage of your life. That's what that's about.
Or even 2 years.
Right? Yeah, and so if you don't understand that, that's still happening. You may finish the 2 or the 4 and be, pockets out, and you say, oh, I didn't understand it, but that's what it's about. The other thing that people have to realize when they're pursuing this, there are only 6% of the kids in this nation that are going to go on to play college football. There are 6 levels of college football. Let me slow that down. 6% are going to go play college, and there's 6 levels of college. If you do the math out there, that's about 1% for every level. So not every peg is going to fit into every hole. And people spin their wheels a lot of times going to the wrong place. They go to a seafood restaurant, they want a good hamburger. No, you have to go to the hamburger joint if you eat hamburger. You know what I mean? You got to go to the right place. And the right place is, what level are you at? And you say, well, okay, how do I know? Easy. The eyeball test. Open up any roster, go to your position. If you see your height and weight at that position, then you can go there. If you don't, then you need to go find another roster where your height and weight is there.
And your grades.
Yeah, and that's where it starts if you're not being recruited. Now, it does not mean that you look at, State U and you don't see your height and weight, but you're bound and determined that you're going to do whatever it takes to be a member of State U. That's a different mission. Go be an expert in how that happens. But if you want to get recruited, then you've got to find the roster that has the height and weight of the position you play. Why? Because that means that they're looking for players your height and weight, right? If you're 5'10" and you're a heck of a defensive lineman and you weigh 220 pounds and you destroy every block in the world, go look at an FBS roster. You will not find your height and weight on there. But you go to Division II, Division III, you will find your height and weight roster. So now it's up to you. You can bang your head and go to that camp, right, where they're looking for 6'5", 280,
right,
and you're 5'10", 220.
Right.
Or you can go to the other camp where they're looking for 5'10", 220. Hey, we can work with that, and you're going to get some love. It's up to you. And you got to remember that no matter what level it is, you're going to be one of only 6%. I tell my guys, look, if 100 of us roll up to a nightclub and only 6 of us get in and 94 on the outside, when I come out of the club, nobody in the 94 can tell me, hey, where'd you sit? And I said, well, I was on the floor. Oh, you didn't get in the VIP lounge. I'm like, dude, you didn't get in the door.
Right?
I was at least inside. They know my face. You know what I mean? So
they know my name. They saw the ID.
Yeah, they know my name. That's right. And the club is called college football. Even guys that go, let me finish about DB. Even guys that go to small schools, I said, look, you go to a school called Huniata or West, Tree Limb U, and somebody rolls up and says, you play college football? You go, yeah. You go, where do you play? West Tree Limb U. I go, well, I don't know where that is. And in my head, I'm going, because you don't play college football.
Hey,
you know what I mean? It's like you got to start understanding what that is. This is from youth, flag, contact, right through middle school, through high school, and there's 6% at the end that are going to be college football players. And you should be proud of that no matter where you fit into that team.
And you better understand that a lot of that 6% is coming from 1% of the schools. And there's that whole other part. We'll throw it to break. Barry, ponder this over the break. The difference between JUCO, prep, and reclassification. We will.
Okay.
We'll dive into that pool when we come back to Barry Thompson here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Early break with Sip and Jake.
Joined by Sam Cook, 39 years old from Seward, Jake. Played 16 seasons with Baltimore. Why do you think it worked so well for you in Baltimore?
With success of our special teams over the 16-year career, never left the field without feeling like I got something out of it each day. And always try to find a way to make sure I got each day got better.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Southeast Community College has learning centers in Falls City, Hebron, Nebraska City, Plattsmouth, Wahoo, and York so that you can take credit and non-credit classes at a center nearby without having to travel an hour or more to campus. By taking online classes and those at a learning center, you can earn your degree from SEC where and when it's convenient for you, all at a cost that won't stand in the way of your education. Learn more about SCC's learning centers at southeast.edu/learning centers. SCC, your path to possible.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
People always ask, what are Jake and Sip like when they're off the air? Well, the answer probably won't surprise you.
Hey, Jake, your Honda's looking a little dirty.
Says the guy whose license plate is barely visible.
I mean, do you even care about that thing anymore?
It gets a little uncomfortable. Now, that's when I jump in.
Hey, whoa. Mark, did you get a new car?
Nope, just took my car down to Nebraska Auto Detail. Joe and the staff made the outside and the inside look amazing. Maybe you guys need to go.
Okay, wise guy.
Settle down, Jake.
Call Nebraska Auto Detail today at 402-601-5086.
Hey, it's Nicklin Hames from Nebraska Volleyball. I hate wasting time in practice, and I want to help you stop wasting your time when you're looking for an electrician. High Electric has been serving the area for over 30 years for both residential and commercial properties. They are experts in everything like remodeling, new additions, hot tub installation, and more. And they take jobs from Beatrice to Omaha and all towns, big or small, in between. Call them today at 402-466-6606 or learn more at high-electric.com.
At Baxter, we put you in the driver's seat with a simplified buying process, at-home test drives, hassle-free delivery, and service pickup and return. Check out all our new vehicle specials now during the Ram Make the Switch event at Baxter Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Tune in every Monday morning throughout the summer at 6:45 a.m. for golf course reviews on the Nebraska Golf Passport Early Break Golf Tour with Jake Sorensen and Steve Sipple on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 330 North 48th Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to One-on-One with DP, sponsored by Beatrice Bakery on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. One-on-one, the Barry Thompson Hour, brought to you by Ambition Electric. Barry, so as we help parents and athletes understand this process, and Rick and I were just talking about it on the break, that a lot of this is new news. The assumption is that parents know how all of this stuff works, and it's just not true. Like, I know that my mom didn't know how to process me through, how to get me through the process. Like, she didn't. She's like, well, where are you going this weekend? Oh, I'm going to Richmond. Well, why are you going there? I want to play baseball there. Well, why don't you go there and play football? That's not how that works, Mom. Can't really go through it, right? When the reclassification people show up, right? The reclassification people show up and say, hey, listen, Mom, we think if he, because it's just 2 days, so they'll give him a pass. He could play and he could graduate in the class of 81. Well, Barry can tell you, if I had played in the class of 81, it's an entirely different world. It's an entirely different world. But what I did instead was I spent 3 months at a JUCO, and the JUCO said, you're not going to be here long. You're going to end up at the big house because of the work you've put in here.
Right.
And my body changed and otherwise. And then I explained to Rico, yeah, but if I had reclassified, or if I stayed, the 20 pounds of muscle that I put on that summer would have took me to Virginia Tech to play wide receiver instead of playing center field. Like all of it changes. So if we talk about the JUCO route, so let's say it's a high school junior, and they really want to do it, and the parents want to be supportive in it. They have opportunities. Again, they can reclassify for whatever way, right, in whatever space you can. If you can't do that, the next option is prep school, right, the additional year where there's that. And then there's the other option of getting in, as you said, getting in the club, and then doing work once you're inside the club.
Right. I'm not an expert in this, but just to tell you what touches with when you leave the prep school zone and you cross over to the JUCO side, that is a different world. And just as you have to be very selective and understanding what you're getting yourself into, not all JUCOs are built the same.
No.
There's fans out there who have probably are familiar with the show Last Chance U. There's a reason why they came up with that name from a football perspective. And I can tell you, and if people remember back to year one where there was a fight on the sideline with Mississippi Delta, Guy Myers was on that sideline. It turned out that Mississippi Delta wasn't what he wanted. He moved on to Neo.
Right.
And when you enter that JUCO world from a football perspective, one of the things that you have to understand is that it's not just you. At any moment, what they call a drop-in, a guy from Clemson might be having grade problems, or find out he's too stacked up behind guys, and to get in some experience, they drop him down to a JUCO. He drops in. All of a sudden, that guy's going to play, right? And so, how do you handle that stuff? Money and how money is allocated. They have different ways that they can allocate money for out-of-state people or in-state people. And those coaches aren't shy about threatening to take your money away if they don't think they're getting out of you what they need to get out of you. So the JUCO road is not for everyone. But if that's what it's come down to, all I can say is be really selective about where you're going. And what's that F word you said earlier? You better be focused. You better be focused, because there's likely to be a few barriers that are in your way. Some JUCO stories like they don't even have a real access to a real practice facility, or they do. They have to practice at 11 o'clock at night sometimes because it's a shared space with a high school, and that's the only time they can get on there. So that is not an easy route. The guys who make it from that route, though, however, are extremely proud of what they did to get to where they need to be. So that's the JUCO route. I think in some respects, you want to try to avoid it, and in other respects, like it was in your case, it might be the stepping stone for you. But the percentages kind of go down as to how that's worked. But either case, you better be focused. You step into the JUCO program because you're only there for one reason.
Yeah,
and that is to get to another level. That's the only reason you're there.
Well, I mean, as I said, it's you getting in the club, right? I mean, I had guys, our high school program was elite. And there were guys who were being drafted high in the major league draft. There were guys who were all going Division I. As a matter of fact, all 8 of the position players, 7 of the 8 of position players had D1 offers. And when people talk about the 6%, well, we took a huge chunk of that for the state of Virginia. Like we took a huge chunk, and we were sending guys to every major program. The difference was, for me, I needed the 3 months to focus.
Yeah.
I needed the summer months to focus and to hear different voices, and then to see, one, to get in a space where I was playing in July against college seniors. I needed that. I needed to know how much harder I had to work. I needed to know how much they cared. I needed to know what the differences were, and not everybody gets that opportunity. I needed that. And it's not for everybody. We have a question. If a kid forfeits playing his senior year of high school, what routes can they take to still get recruited for college? I'm gonna give that one to you because I think because the first thing I want to say is remove the phrase never say forfeits a year of play.
Yeah, let me answer that, and I'm going to go back a little bit about just recruiting in general to maybe help some of the listeners that are going through this process that may not understand it. First of all, it's never not it's double negative, triple negative. It's not good to skip a year of football.
Right.
It's just the way people look at it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Maybe the year would be the best thing for you, but just understand that if that happens, you're going to have to answer some questions.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then there may be some people, just automatically dismiss it. It's not a thing that can't be overcome, but it's just a hole in the resume. If you think like a job, like, you have a resume and all of a sudden there's a year where you don't work, then somebody's going to ask some questions. It's the same thing with sports. And so that's that. Let me say something about recruiting. And this is specifically to the people that aren't being recruited. Right? This whole conversation is about people who aren't being recruited.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think the first thing that you need to understand if you're not being recruited is that the recruiting marketplace is spectacularly inefficient. It's the complete opposite of DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever you use, where you're hungry, you scroll through some pictures, there's all these people out there ready to make you food, and you hit a picture, you press the button, and suddenly that person will get the food to your house. And generally, it looks like the picture and tastes like you think it would taste.
Mm-hmm.
Recruiting's just the opposite. There's all these schools out there who don't know that you exist. Why? Because they don't have a mechanism or the resources to get to your area, explain who they are, and then, overcome your top three choices, which were, within 20 miles of you.
Mm-hmm.
But they're there. So it does take work to kind of understand, hey, what is the sample size of the colleges that would be looking for me, and that involves a few keystrokes. Find out that height and weight, and expand the sample size. You'll find that there's probably 200 or 150 rosters out there that have a 5'10", 220 lineman out there. Mm-hmm. Not just one, but 200, 150. All right, start sending your stuff to those 150. I guarantee you're going to get responses. Not all going to respond. Some are. Now, just by doing that, now you got something you can aim at. Right? Now, the next analogy is dating. They're over there. You're over here. Who's going to make the first move? Right?
Yep.
You've got to express to them that you have a sincere interest in their program. Just like dating. The pretty girl can be over there, and you're looking at her, and she's looking at you, but until somebody walks across the room and says, hey, my name is, ain't nothing going to happen. And so you got this universe, you found it. Okay, let them know here you are, you're interested in their program. They'll say, hey, we're interested in you. Right? And then it goes from there. It gets less confusing if you follow those simple steps. It really does.
I think it's important to have those discussions because right now, there are parents who are looking for their sophomores and juniors and the rising seniors what to do, and it's just an empty vacuum. And you're hearing the stories of all recruiting, not understanding that you have other ways, you have other means, you have other accesses, and then it's focus.
Yeah,
you need.
And I'm sorry, DP, you got me going. So yeah, if you're a sophomore or going into your junior year and you're not being recruited, then I'm going to tell you, you have no business or very little business going to an FBS program camp. Go to that camp if you want to, and it's your dream, and you're going to get a big kick out of it. But don't go to that camp expecting to be recruited. What you need to do if you're not being recruited is to go find a program where your height and weight is on there, at your position. You need to go to those camps. You go to those camps, I guarantee your recruiting is going to start, right? So it doesn't mean you don't go to your dream school that's a big FBS program. You can do that. But if I'm going to allocate my resources and time during the summer. I'm going to heavily weight to the places where I know I'm going to most likely get a feedback from a coach. And then I'll do some over here. If my goal is to get recruited, not just brag about what camps I went to, then God, dog, open up your computer, put in D3.com, put in D2.com, put in FCS, find it. It's right there. The information, every roster is right there. Find your height and weight. Start sending your stuff to that school. You'll start learning. And the best thing about that, CP, is when the kids do this, they start expanding and start thinking, how far away do I want to be from home? Hey, do I like that place? Do they have my major? Hey, can I get into that school? How many girls are there? How many guys are there? Right? Is this in the town? Is it in a city? I don't want to go out. I don't want to be out in the country. You start doing those things that every college student should do, and you're really increasing the probability that you're going to land at a place that you really like, no matter if you're playing football or not, which is what you ultimately need to do.
Well, the other side of this thing, Barry, before we go to break, my grandmother said it, baby, I know you want the fancy car, but you don't have fancy car money. Sometimes you got to know what your bank account allows you to do, and sometimes you got to know where your bank account is wanted. We'll throw the break. When we come back, Barry, tell us, what are we eating? We'll do that next year on The Ticket.
Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Southeast Community College has learning centers in Falls City, Hebron, Nebraska City, Plattsmouth, Wahoo, and York, so that you can take credit and non-credit classes at a center nearby without having to travel an hour or more to campus. By taking online classes and those at a learning center, you can earn your degree from SEC where and when it's convenient for you, all at a cost that won't stand in the way of your education. Learn more about SCC's learning centers at southeast.edu/learning centers. SCC, your path to possible.
People always ask, what are Jake and Sip like when they're off the air? Well, the answer probably won't surprise you.
Hey, Jake, your Honda's looking a little dirty.
Says the guy whose license plate is barely visible.
I mean, do you even care about that thing anymore?
It gets a little uncomfortable. Now, that's when I jump in.
Hey, whoa. Mark, did you get a new car?
Nope, just took my car down to Nebraska Auto Detail. Joe and the staff made the outside and the inside look amazing. Maybe you guys need to go.
Okay, wise guy.
Settle down, Jake.
Call Nebraska Auto Detail today at 402-601-5086.
At Baxter, we put you in the driver's seat with a simplified buying process, at-home test drives, hassle-free delivery, and service pickup and return. Check out all our new vehicle specials now during the Ram Make the Switch event at Baxter Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Showers will continue to be a possibility through much of the morning before maybe sneaking in a little afternoon sunshine, only topping out at around 66, a north wind at around 15 to 20. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 47. Sunshine and warmer temps return for your Friday with a high of 80. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's the weekend. Do you know where your kids are? The dangers of alcohol, marijuana, and other controlled substances are bad enough. They become even worse when teens get behind the wheel or catch a ride with an impaired driver. Parents, it's time to start what could be a life-saving conversation with your kids about the dangers of underage drinking and drug use. Learn more at coalitionrx.org. Paid for by federal grant dollars through Nebraska DHHS and Region 6 Behavioral Healthcare. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric always makes safety a top priority for our home and office. In under just 1 hour, their team installed the state-of-the-art air scrubber system directly into our existing HVAC ductwork. This technology purifies the air and reduces exposure to common bacteria and viruses, creating a safer breathing environment for my family. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
I present the fruitcake. Long the subject of jokes, ridicule, derision, but did the fruitcake accept its place in the culinary totem pole? No! The fruitcake sought to rise to its full potential at Beatrice Bakery. Premium nuts, high-quality fruits, and the delectable trio of brandy, bourbon, and rum. Grandma's fruitcake, is no punchline, but a decadent treat that packs a punch of flavor.
Check out Grandma's Fruitcake and all the delicious desserts at Beatrice Bakery. Welcome to our world of yum.
Tune in every Monday morning throughout the summer at 6:45 a.m. for golf course reviews on the Nebraska Golf Passport Early Break Golf Tour with Jake Sorensen and Steve Sipple on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, it's Nelson. Isn't it a great feeling when a company has your budget in mind instead of trying to squeeze it all out of you? That's why Caterpillar Vapes has been voted a fan favorite among premium e-juice, CBD, and Delta-8 customers year after year. And now they're here in Lincoln. Returning customers are always enjoying weekly deals and perks, and new Caterpillar Vapes customers get 50% off their entire first purchase. A company that cares about their customers. Crazy, right? In a hurry? Try the drive-thru. Caterpillar Vapes, 2601 North 11th Street, and online at caterpillarvapes.com.
Back to One-on-One with DP, presented by Beatrice Bakery on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. Final segment of One-on-One with Barry Thompson. We've got about 3 minutes, so gather your napkins since you can dab your chin when he describes something wonderful. Barry, what are we eating?
We're going to eat dirty rice. Get 4 cloves of minced garlic, 1 rib of celery, a medium onion, bell pepper, red pepper, 1/4 cup of Worcestershire sauce. It's some chicken stock, 1.5 cups of rice, 1 pound of ground meat. You can use ground beef. I like sweet sausage. And here you go. Dice up all the vegetables. You'll mince the garlic. And then what you do is you get the pan kind of going, and you take the ground meat. Sometimes it'll come in a pack, and if it's ground, it's a little square that's in there. You can literally dump the whole thing into I use cast iron skillet. There'll be that little paper on the back. Pull that off, and just let that kind of brick of ground meat sit and let it develop a crust. Don't turn it over. And then once it does develop a crust, turn it over, let the other side develop a crust. Don't dice it up or any of that stuff. Once the crust is developed, then you can use a wooden spoon or a spatula and start chopping up, breaking it into little chunks. In goes a 1/4 cup of the Worcestershire sauce. That will not only add flavor, but it will kind of deglaze the pan if your skillet isn't, properly seasoned. You let that Worcestershire sauce get absorbed into that meat. Then all the veggies go in no particular order. Hold out the garlic. All the veggies will go in no particular order, and then they will start sweating out. And probably about 8 minutes ago, you'll see that they get clear or translucent. They'll change color. That means they're getting soft. And as those juices from the vegetables start to dry up a little bit, and the pan will start making more noise. You'll throw in your garlic, mix it all around. You'll smell the garlic. Let it go till just where that smell dissipates, and then you want to go in with your rice. 1.5 cups of rice, and it's a good thing to toast rice. Rice, when it's in the pan and you start mixing around, if you look at it closely, it starts to change. It becomes translucent, and that means it's opening up, and the rice is absorbing some flavors. And then about that point, put in your stock, 1.5 cups of rice. You probably use 3 cups of water, 4 cups of water. Put in bay leaves, a little bit of Creole seasoning on the top, put the lid on it, crank it down, let it simmer for 25 minutes. And it's another one of those dishes. We made it, you ate it, and then you came back, I'm hungry, ate it again. It lasted maybe about a day and a half, and it was gone. But it's a complete meal. It's got rice, it's got protein, it's got vegetables. And, of course, it's your dirty rice, so you can put in it whatever you want. Put shrimp in there. Put shrimp in there if you want. Just a great, versatile one-pan dish, dirty rice.
Rico, you saw the picture. Your thoughts, kind sir?
Again, when you just got to slap a stamp on there or something, and then just send it there. Hey, can you say that sauce name again?
The sauce?
Yes.
Yeah, well, you know what? To stay out of that trouble, we just call it W sauce.
There you go.
I've heard a couple people call it.
And let me say one thing about this too. Traditional dirty rice is made from ground chicken livers and gizzards, and there's a way. It's a traditional stretch meal. I like it that way too. but it seems like more people are kind of, going toward, a ground meat at some point. And by the way, if you get ground andouille sausage or ground chorizo sausage, you want to put that in, that'll work in there too. And don't forget the W sauce.
Yeah, I've heard a couple people call it this, so this is what I've been calling now. I call it wash your sister sauce.
Okay, or W sauce.
W will do. BT, appreciate you. Good stuff as usual. Thank you, kind sir. Love to the family. I'll talk to you this week.
Yeah. All right, thanks for having me. Bye-bye.
Oh, that's Barry Thompson. It's always a great hour. Again, thank the folks from Ambition Electric for allowing us to have that conversation. A little bit different, just to provide some information for folks who may or may not need it. Captain Show is up next for Sean Jackson. And then we got a busy afternoon. Just plug it into 93.7 The Ticket. Hang on. We'll have something for you coming up all day long.